Kimberly with At Home with Chic and Grace. Today I have a really quick tutorial for you. We're going to work on some ornaments and some matching or coordinating shelf sitters. So we've got these cute little easels. They just come apart for storage, and then you can sit on them. Hymns. So this one is Hark the Herald Angels Sing. I'm just going to set it to the side because I've got a bunch here. We've got O Little Town of Bethlehem, and I should have had these ones all up front. I have Great is Thy Faithfulness. Now this one the setting was wrong. It didn't engrave. The engraving actually looks like that, and I just did it in a different color. And then I want to show them all to you. Glory to the Newborn King. And then we have O Holy Night. I did these in a whole bunch of different colors. Well, not a whole bunch of different colors, but just different variations for you to see. Some different colors, give you a little inspiration. Joy to the World, Silent Night, O Come All Ye Faithful, The First Noel. Now, there is already on my website, well, these ones will be on the website by the time you see this video, but Be Still and Know, Amazing Grace, To God Be the Glory, and How Great Thou Art. I think that's all of them. Oh, It Is Well With My Soul. So I have those all done in ornaments. So I'm just going to quick show them to you. And I tried to do these in, like I say, a few different colors. Now, I haven't attached any of the bows, but look at how cute they would be with a little bow on them too. And then, depends on what your colors are, right? Mine are always navy and gold. Well, they have been the last few years. So even like a blue velvet bow on there for Silent Night. Oh, and then I did have this gold velvet bow too. So, and that's another Silent Night. And then, O Holy Night, It Is Well With My Soul. I'm just going to push these little bows to the side because none of them are attached. Away in the Manger, Be Still and Know, and then we have Amazing Grace, To God Be the Glory, How Great Thou Art, Hark the Herald Angels Sing, Come All Ye Faithful. Love this color, The First Noel. I think I'm going to do more of those. I also decorate with a little bit of those colors. Actually, I'm just going to leave that down so I can show you what those colors look like together. And then O Holy Night. Let me put this down. I did these in a couple different colors. So, and then you've seen the rest. Silent Night, Joy to the World, and The First Noel. Oh, then there is, again, Hark the Herald Angels Sing, Glory to the Newborn King, Great is Thy Faithfulness. I'm actually not sure that these ones are going to be kits because it's so fine. The laser has to cut so fine on these, and both of these broke. So of course, I've glued them together, and they're great. When they're big, they're fine. But they can still be fragile, but the big ones are fine. So I'm not sure if the little guys are gonna be kits or not, but all the rest of them will be. So, and some of them I just finished painting, so I don't have bows or beads or anything on them yet. So we are going to paint here. I just wanted to bring this down here. So we're gonna change views here. Look how pretty those are. Now I would either make them all the same bows, I think, Even like that looks really cute there too. I do really like this. So anyhow, I just wanted to show you what it would look like with a few different colors on your tree. So the other thing you might notice is that some of these are a little bit, well, actually these two right here are exactly the same. Some of them are thicker than the other ones. This is what the kits will be, is the thicker wood, just because this isn't as nice of wood as this is. These hold up better. They're not as fragile when they are just out of the little bit thicker wood. Okay, so I'm going to move some of this to the side, and then we are going to just adjust, sorry for the noise, adjust this so you can be a little closer. There we go. So we are going to do A Little Town of Bethlehem and Away in a Manger. Okay. Okay, sorry for the noise there again. Like I said, this is super, super simple. Now, you know I love to use my fusion paint a lot. Most of these I painted in AMERICANA because I'm doing kits where you're going to be able to choose if you want paint included or not. So I wanted to have like an affordable paint for you guys. But if you love fusion like I do and you have it on hand, Casement is the white. Some of them I did use picket fence on as well, but I find Casement just has a smidge undertone of gray in it and it covers just a little quicker. But today I'm going to use AMERICANA's Titanium Snow White. So just put a little bit of it over here so you can see. Okay, so we'll need a sponge. Actually, let's just sand this first. It depends, like every now and then you may have to sand the top here a little bit. You can just see a little excess soot from the laser. It's no big deal, but I just find that if you just give it a nice little sand, it removes some of it and the white covers better. So always remember to sand with the grain. And what do I got on here? 320 grit. So it's just a really fine sandpaper. I just like to go over it just a little bit. I'm not going to get it all off, but... And you can see just a little bit on the engraving there too. So we'll just give it a nice light sand. And then just blow out all the dirt that gets into the scoring in the engraving. We'll just do this one too, just a little bit. But it really does cover quite well. Okay, so remember in other videos you've seen I use makeup sponges to paint. You want to get very little paint on here, like there is not much on there at all, because you don't want to fill in all of your engraving. And the reason why I give it to you in these templates, they're all taped together on the back to hold all the little bits and pieces in. We don't want to get paint down the sides. It's not, I mean, it will still happen, but if you get paint all down the sides, it is a mess to clean up. So this way, it helps not to get all this paint in there. So dab as much as you can off. Thinner and more layers, thinner paint and more layers is better. So I'm just dabbing on there, you see, and I'm not getting down into the score lines or the engraving. When I get to the top, it is just kissing the top. So I know it feels like it's not covering, but trust me, it is. And 3 coats and this stuff dries so quick. Even if you're using the Fusion like dries really quickly. So let's see, we got none of it in there. Now, just a quick little tip. I use for stain SAMAN. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I use this dark oak. And sometimes if you do by accident get a little down in there, tiny paintbrush. Actually, I will show you how to fix it. A little paintbrush, and that works perfect. Okay, so we're going to let that dry. We are going to do the same down here. Now we're worrying about covering the letters and then the circle around the edge, because that is what goes onto our ornament. Okay, so we'll put that guy to the side. Now, let me just, I can't remember what color I wanted to paint this. This one I stained. I did paint the Noel white, and then my absolute favorite gold is the AMERICANA, so the Deco Art Dazzling Metallics, and it's the Champagne Gold. I love it. So this, then I just sponged on 2 coats over top of the white. And I'm really liking that. This one, now I have to remember all the colors that I used here. I believe this one was the FOLKART Brushed Bronze. Okay, so then this is the Silent Night, or the Silent, well, it is Silent Night, but this is the white and that same gold. This Joy to the World, these ones are freshly painted, so that kind of stuck. I'm not going to stack those ones. Joy to the World, I did, there it is, FOLKART's Antique Gold, and it's really brassy, which is pretty, but I just then went over it with my Champagne Gold just to soften it, but it just gives it a little bit of a different look. And then this is also really nice. This is the dark oak by the SAMAN. This is, can't see it anymore. This is the Colonial in the same brand. So let's move that so you can kind of see. And then we've got Deco Art, the Dazzling Metallics Rich Espresso is what that is. So, oh, this little town of Bethlehem, I painted the back gold. You know what? That's what we're going to do. So, okay, that's good. I'm glad we just went through that because I knew I had a plan and that was it. So, again, the same as I did before when I was saying the Silent Night, I painted it white and then went over it with gold. So we're going to do the exact same thing. And then we're going to keep this, the manger, we're going to keep it white, I think is what we're going to do. So again, a really, really light touch. And then be careful when you're doing the bigger ones because you have a little bit more of a chance of paint getting down into the engraving area. So you just need to be a little bit more careful on the bigger ones. I need a little bit more paint here. That bottle's getting empty. Okay, so you don't need to sit here and watch me paint. I am going to fast forward through this and get 2 to 3 coats of white on here. But I will tell you one thing I'm going to do is before I put my second coat on, one, make sure it's 100% dry, but the other thing I'm going to do, and well, why don't we just finish this up so I can just show you. Like this comes together so quickly, you guys. So this is already going to be dry. This one's not so bad, but a lot of times you put paint or anything on raw wood, raises the grain, right? So what we're going to do is just run over it really quickly with a fine sandpaper, and it just smooths it out. Go with the grain. I'll do this down here too. You shouldn't have to do this on any other coats. Just the first, after the first one. So I'm going to put another coat on here, and then I'll wait for these ones to dry, sand them, and get another coat on. These will most likely take 3 coats. All right, so I'll just speed this up for you. Okay, so I have got 3 coats on all of these. This, Away in a Manger, we're going to put gold on the background, and we're going to leave the manger white. Oh, Little Town of Bethlehem, the background we're going to leave white, and the front we're going to do gold. So if you decided that you wanted, like, it depends on how light-handed you were, you could do a 4th coat on there, and the same with this, but I'm happy with the coverage I have. Now, I did get a little bit of white. You can barely see it. Like, it is like the tiniest little bit. What happens is sometimes the laser just leaves little raised bits in here, but I want to show you how to get rid of it. And then the same thing here. Got a little heavy-handed on my E, and I'm going to show you how to get rid of it. So we're going to let both of these 100% dry before we go ahead and do that. So I am going to use the Champagne Gold for both of these. So, oh, I picked the bottle that is just about empty. So it squirts everywhere. Okay, I'm going to get my sponge out here. I always trim my sponges up. I cut the dried bits off and keep them, so I'm just trimming it straight. I didn't trim it very straight. Okay, so actually that's still a touch. Oh, this is dry. So let's get doing this guy. Okay, so the same thing. You don't want all your paint to seep down the edges, so still very, very little. Now, depending on how much gold you want on here, you can get totally different looks with this. You could put 1 coat on and just have a really soft, like, sparkle. Like that. That would be enough. I have done on all of these, let me grab one that is, like, this has probably 3 coats on it. So, but it, you know, it just depends on how much coverage you want. Like, that is really pretty if you want to leave it with just a tiny little bit of sparkle. We're going to let that dry, and this is not 100% dry yet. I'm just going to pull my dryer out and dry it. Okay, didn't take much at all. Let's just get a little bit more gold out here. Of a pink goober there. Okay, so again, you can decide how many coats you want on, how much gold you want. This champagne gold is so pretty. It just has like the subtle little sparkle to it, like a shimmer. It's gorgeous. So if you do end up being able to just get one good even coat on there, like you will see some sponge marks sometimes, but remember we have a lot of word that is going to go on and cover it up. So it really just depends on the look you want. If you want full coverage, if you're okay with more of a mottled look. Up there. Okay, I'm going to give this another coat. I'm going to dry and I will give this another coat as well. So I'll just speed this up for you. Okay, so this one here, I am going to put another coat on. This has 2 coats. I'm going to leave it the way it is. And this guy, we'll see. I might leave it. I might give it 2 coats, or the 3rd coat. I'm not sure. Oh yes, I thought I could squeeze a little bit more out of there, but I can't. So what I'm going to do is let this dry, and it's a little bit modelly. You can kind of see that. It does not look bad at all. So, but what you don't want to do is when it's wet, keep going over it because you'll just pull paint off. So I'm going to leave this one though. I like little bits of the white kind of coming through there. On the smaller piece, you can get away with not full coverage. Okay, we're going to let this dry. Okay, we have 3 coats on this one, 2 coats on this one. This is for them, it's pretty dry, like I can touch it. I know it's still smidge tacky, but it's good. So what I want to be able to show you right now is how I fix any of the paint that gets into these words. So I always pour my stain into a little Dixie cup. It just makes it easier to handle. And I'll take a really small brush, have a baby wipe handy, and you have to be quick with this. Now if you're using Fusion paint, it's way easier because it's got a built-in sealer. But basically I am just going over it, making sure I got paint into all of that, and like I'm putting the paint or the stain down in the groove, and then I'm just wiping it off. And voila, it's perfect again. So I'll show you again the way in the manger. So a little bit of gold got in here too. Might have to do this one in 2 words because you don't want it to sit too long. This is an water-based stain that I am using, so it wipes, like it's not going down in there and staining like the oil does. I don't even know if that made sense. I know what I'm trying to say. But anyhow, it's a water-based. It's water-based. It's very easy cleanup. So if you do get some that doesn't come off, you can very easily touch it back up with your paint, but it just wipes right off. So it's perfect. Like, it's just, it darkens it up. It's perfect. Love it. All right, let's just rinse that out. We're going to be using this again, so we'll just put it to the side for now. Okay, I'm going to take the tape off the back. We are going to stain the back. I always finish everything, but I actually stain that last. Well, just put that on the floor. My little basket is gone. Okay, let's take our manger out. Now this is when you want to be a little bit more careful. So I like to set it right down. You're going to get some of the pieces coming out. That's fine because they go into the garbage. We'll pull that off. Very carefully you can lift it up. The manger is very, very easy, but some of them are delicate, and you'll see that when we do the Bethlehem. So you just want to be careful that if you have to, if something happens, you get paint stuck down in the edges, you just very lightly put pressure on it. Don't push hard or you're going to break your words. And then we're going to glue this on. You can glue it on straight, you can go a little on an angle. I do them differently all the time. Okay, so we're going to take the tape off of this one. Okay, be careful when you get down to the words down here. The ornaments are more delicate. Sometimes you're lucky and you lift up and they'll just all come out. Other times you have to be very gentle here. So we've got, now see my O, there we go. That is actually supposed to be together. So, but it's really, really delicate in there. So, sometimes if my laser isn't like perfectly clean, it doesn't cut those fine things perfectly. So if this does happen to you, it's easy enough to just glue them back together. Okay, so you need to be very careful here. Holding your letters. Okay, I can see by my H it needs just a little bit of a push. There we go. Little nudge. And then let's grab, sometimes even getting something that is pokey, like the middle of the L needs to come out. Oh, I just broke my E. Well, I didn't break it. The B and the E came apart there. You know what? These things, they just happen sometimes. These are really delicate, and then we can just push that out. Okay, and then all of these pieces can go to the garbage. The only ones I had problems with breaking was, well, the Bethlehem, the first one I did, it didn't happen to. And the Faithfulness. Those are the only two that I've actually had this problem with. So There's a chance that these two aren't going to be ornaments. They will be the big shelf sitters, of course, but there's a chance they might not be ornaments. If you're, because I want you guys to get the best, right? But if you're okay with that and you want them, and you don't see them listed, shoot me a message. But yeah, I'll have to make some decisions here. Okay, anyhow, we're gonna get on to gluing these together. So I use quick dry tacky glue, Aleene's, and then I fill a little bit of it with one of these bottles. I just get these little bottles off of Amazon because they have a really nice fine tip. So we're going to turn it over and let's get as much glue on here as possible. So I can see my laser needed to be cleaned because of how the back is looking on this, but so it just, but it's all good. It doesn't affect the end result here. What I like to do, if I ever have little pieces that break like that, is I like to get just a little bit of glue in there because that'll help it out. Once everything's glued down, you're not even going to notice. And this glue dries clear. Here I am again out of camera, but this glue dries clear. So if you get a little bit outside, it's okay. Make sure everything's lined up. And I'm just stretched my Bethlehem out and I've just got my finger on that. Now, if you need to, I use bag clips or tiny little clamps. As long as you have everything perfectly in place and lined up, I'm just feeling around the edges to make sure that it's all good and lined up. You could put a little clip on there and help hold it in place. So we'll do that and then we'll come back to gluing Town of on. Let's get our Way in a Manger. And then I like to use, oops, the bigger bottle here when we can. Whoops. I'm a little messy sometimes with my glue. So anywhere where I think that I got too much, like right here, I'll just run over with my finger. Now if I got it down the side like I did, just use my finger, or sometimes I will use a little pokey tool. Oh yeah, there, that helped because I got a little bit too much in there. Even a little brush you can get in there and get it out, and then just rinse your brush right away and it'll be fine. Because if you don't want to use your finger to spread it out, you can use your brush to spread things out too. All right. This does dry fairly quickly, but you've got a lot of work time. Like, you don't have to be rushing to do it. Okay. And there'll be a little bit of seepage out the edges, and that's okay because I am going to show you a little trick to cleaning up your edges. And there's a little bit of extra glue in there, like I said. So sometimes I will take my baby wipe and something pointy and I will just go in and clean it up if there's a lot. I don't worry about it a ton because this glue dries clear. So I'm pretty good with that, so I'm just going to leave it. Everything's flush around there, so I'm going to set that down and let's get this Town of Bethlehem glued on. I want to dry fit it so I can see whoops. See where I want it. Yeah, I like that. So I like to make sure I get glue all over, especially these really tiny little delicate ones. Okay. Of course I would have had to have picked the one that is super delicate, but at least then you know how I deal with it if that happens. And then the F, so like that little part of the F is so delicate. Make sure there's glue on there. There. Can't even tell that it came apart right there and right there. Like you can't tell at all. Okay, I'm gonna let those dry because then we're gonna do a little bit of sanding and actually, while that is happening, let me show you what I do to get the beads. Whoops, I just want to pull this over so you can see it. So all of my beads start out, oh, I don't even have any here that are not painted, but they're all just plain wood when they start out. So what I like to do is I'll take my beads and let me just grab my white beads here. Okay, so just pretend that these aren't painted. I'll put them in a cup, and I just have, you don't need this, I have this, so I'm using it because it's a really nice thin paint. But all you have to do is take your regular white, water it down a little bit, put a little bit in here. Like I would fill this probably like here with beads with like a teaspoon of paint, swirl it around, make sure that it's all pretty good coverage. I mean, these aren't perfect coverage and I am okay with that. I don't even know if you can see that, so that they're not perfect coverage. But then when I feel like it's a coverage that I like, I just pour them out onto my plate or onto some wax paper and let them dry, and every now and then I'll come and hit them with my fingers so that they don't stick together, but they will hit each other a bit and paint will come off. I am okay with that. So what I do, the same thing with stained ones, and it kind of gives it like this really cool like modelly look. You can't really see that very well. So, but then from there, on the stained ones, I'll take things like the rich espresso to get this bead painted. The white ones, I'll paint over them with my gold to get that, that color. So what I do is I just put the bead on my skewer and I just paint it, lay it down, let it dry. The really small ones don't go on very far at all. So you can, these ones actually go on further. This hole mustn't be very big. There we go. So then you just paint them. You can have several of them on here and let them paint, or paint them, and then just set them down and let them dry. So that is all I do for that. For this one that we just painted, I've got a gold one and I want two white ones. I'm going to show you my little trick to stringing them together. But before we do that, we need to let the glue dry on these. So we'll do that and then we'll be back. Okay, so these are fairly dry. So let me show you how I finish up the edges. before we put the beads on. So because this is a good example here, you can kind of see some white, there you can see it better there, a little bit of white from the background, like the back of it was painted white. So I will take some sandpaper and I will just go around that, sand it down a little bit. We're going to go over this with some stain. Now, you could sand the background edge before. I still find I have to do this, so this just saves me one step of sanding. I think I still have, yeah, I haven't changed it, so I still have the 320 grit in here. So I'm just gonna give that a little. Oh, I thought it wasn't glued very well, but it is. Okay. You're not going to get rid of it completely, but just as long as it's not as bad. So then if you had any paint that seeped over your edges at the same time, like from the top, you would get rid of that. We're going to do the exact same thing here. You see a little bit of white, you see a little bit of gold from the back. So we're just going to go around, and if you have any, oh I don't, but if I had any white from the manger, you would sand it off at the same time. Okay. We'll just speed this up. Okay, now we take the dark oak, works perfect for this, and I'm just going to use a little sponge. You don't want tons on here. Have a baby wipe handy. We are just going to totally go around the edge here. I am not worried if any of it hits the front, as long as I'm not letting it sit there for a long time. Just going to quick go around here. Now on the ones that I use, I put out year round, like How Great Thou Art, Amazing Grace, what Great Is Thy Faithfulness. Some of them I did the gold edge on them, but most of those ones I didn't. Okay, I'll finish that thought in a second. See all my stain? Baby wipe, just wipe it right off. You don't want that stain to sit there for that long, otherwise you'll have to end up touching it up with paint, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so what I was saying before was the ones that are already on my website, I didn't do the next step that I'm going to show you to the edge, like these ones. Let's get one in my hand. These ones I put some gold on the edge. I just thought it was really pretty. I got some stain here that needs to be wiped off. I'm not sure where that came from, but anyhow, I did some gold on the edge. So I did exactly what we just did, and then once that's dry, we're going to run around the edge with some gold. So I'll show you that as well. So we're going to do the ornament. You do need to make sure that things are dry fully before you do this, so that your ornament doesn't like come apart and you're not wiping back your paint that's on there. Okay. Just wipe that off the edge. Okay, we're going to let those dry. Clean my hands because otherwise I will get it all over those. So let's get a little bit more paint out here. Oh, that's the empty bottle. I keep grabbing for it. Let me bring this back in so you guys can see it again. I put way too much out there. I'll be scooping that back in, that's for sure. Like, this is already dry. And we haven't done the back yet. We're going to do this step first. I'm using my finger. You can use a brush. But I am just taking this and I am putting just a really thin coverage. Some of them I went around once. Some of them I went around twice. It just depends on the look that you want. Okay. And we need another baby wipe because I've got gold all over the front, which is fine. Just wipe it off. Like I say, if something happens, dries on there, well, you just go back with a little bit of white. You really don't want to have to do that, but you can. It's fairly warm down here in my crafting room, so it dries really quick. But see, you could go around with another coat if you want. I'm not going to. I like it just like that. So some places you can see a little bit more dark, some places you see a little bit more gold. I just think it gives it a really nice little like Christmas effect. That's if you like sparkle. I love sparkle. So, okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the ornament. You can use a brush, you can use a sponge. I just like to use my fingers. When I get to where the top is, we're going to do the same thing, and then you need to have a little bit on the tip of your finger or the side to get in there. And then we're going to go around and wipe that gold off. It's a little thick there. Okay, so like I said, some of them I went around twice, some of them just once, and I am happy with that. Oops, I don't have all the gold off there. All right. So I'm gonna scoop this gold back into here because this is like my favorite color gold. I don't like wasting it. Okay. All right. I didn't have an extra easel cut to show you, but they are super simple. I just stained these. Sometimes I stain them Colonial, sometimes I stain them the dark oak that we've been using. And then that's it. Give them a little sanding after the stain because the stain will raise the grain. And then you've got a cute little easel. It comes with them. Okay, so this needs to dry so that we can get our string in there and put our beads on. So we will be back when these are dry. Oh, we're going to do the back. But actually, you know what? Let's just do it right now. We can do this. You can let it dry, but I can do this while it is sitting here. I just have a piece of wax paper down so I don't get paint on the front of it. So I'm using the dark oak. And I just rub this on, going with the grain. Covers up all my imperfections on the back. Now you can go ahead and make this nice and smooth and even with your sponge. But what I like to do is take a baby wipe, wipe it back, and that makes it nice and even. Just make sure you don't have a whole bunch seeping over the edge. If you want your back darker, let it dry, go over it again. You'll want to give it a little bit of a sanding with a sandpaper before your second coat because it will raise the grain. But let's just let it sit on that wax paper, and I can already feel the back of this one needs to be sanded. So I'm going to go ahead and sand it, and then I'm going to add a little more stain to my sponge. And then I'm going to wipe it back. Make sure there's none on that. Okay, so there we go. So I'm going to let these dry, and then we'll come back and we'll get things finished up. All right, everything is good and dry. You could do another coat on here if you wanted to hide a little bit more of the back imperfections, or just be a little bit more careful. I wasn't that careful when I was doing it. There's something in there. Just want to get that out. Okay, so you can use many things to make your string. This is just what I've chosen to do. I have my two favorite yarns that I buy at Michael's. So let me see. Here's one. This one has this yarn on it. And then this is the other yarn. I'm pretty positive that I don't have the name of this yarn. I might have the name of this yarn. I'd have to look. If I do have the names, I will put them in the description below. So I'm going to use this one because it's a thicker one, and I want to show you how to get the little beads on. And I cut it about 10 inches long. Fold it in half, and then I like to loop it through. You definitely want to make sure things are dry, so just in case you have any extra stain or paint, it is going to come right through onto your yarn or string or whatever you're using. Okay, so this, I hope you can see this. Nope. Maybe you can see it better like that. Is fishing line. It's heavy fishing line, and I folded it in half. And what I'll do is I will put that inside of my bead. I think there's like actually tools you can buy for this, but this is what I have. Then I put my string in between the loop that I made, and I pull my bead through. Let me show you again. So in there, and then this is my loop. I think you might be able to see that. I'm not sure. Then put my yarn in that loop, and then pull the yarn through. Where's the other bead? Oh, there it is. Okay, sometimes the beads they're not that clean on the inside, or you get a little extra paint in there, so you just have to stick something sharp in there to make it clear so everything can come out, or so the yarn can go through. My goodness. Okay, there we go. And then I just tie them off. And trim them up. So what I want to show you next is, this is the gold ribbon, so I'm going to show you how I make my bows. They're very simple. I'm just measuring out 10 inches here again. You may not need 10 inches, but I just like to have a little extra to work with. But what I wanted to show you here too was if you decorate with like reds and greens, here, I don't have to measure, I can just use this. I just want to show you how pretty it's going to look if you decided to put like a green velvet ribbon or a red velvet. I have a navy and a white velvet. They just are like, they're on their way here. They just have not arrived yet. So one thing with velvets is they are like one-sided. So you have to tie your bow a certain way. Whereas if you have something like this, it is double-sided. So you have, it's a little bit easier to make your bow. I do have this, I guess I have this navy velvet too. So I like to tie it as if I'm tying a shoe, and because normally then I'm tripping over my words here, you're gonna end up having part of this bow up. So you have to kind of manipulate it and think about it when you're making the bow. So even if you do it like rabbit ears and do that, you're still going to have, I'll just show you so you know what I'm talking about. You're still going to have the middle part of your bow facing the wrong way, and one of your tails. Now you can take the tail and turn it, right? But what I have found is if I can kind of manipulate this, so if when I'm going around, keep that up, and then fold my rabbit ear with the velvet side up, and then you have to just be like mindful of not pulling it too tight to begin with, because you may have to just kind of twist your ribbon around a little bit. Clearly I was not very even with doing this. Pull my little tails down and fluff my bow. Okay, I hope that you were able to see that. I'm going to do it again. Let's do it with this red, because I want to show you how pretty the red and the green would look. Like you could keep everything neutral and then put a navy bow on, or a green bow, or a red bow. So let's just move a little bit closer to the middle this time. Okay, so I've got one rabbit ear. I'm lifting this ribbon up. Velvet is on the bottom, the satiny part is on top, it's going around. But when I come around, so that I have my my velvet in the middle up. When I come around, making my bunny ear with the velvet out and the satin in, and pushing it through. Just have to twist it a bit. I'm too short on that side. That's okay. Because sometimes you just need a shorter bow. It's really just twisting it as you're making your bow. And then you got like this cute little red bow, and then we'll just trim a tail. But I like to leave it a little bit longer because it gives you more to work with and it's easier. So I'm going to show you one more time. So we've got our satiny side and our velvety side. So we've got one rabbit ear. We're going to go around with the velvet pointed up. You come in behind and velvet is out, satin is in with your rabbit ear, feed it through. It honestly gets easier the more you do it. I just wish I wasn't tripping over my words so much telling you about how to do it. So I hope I explained that right. I hope you can see well enough in the video here. So this guy's a little twisted here. But there he is. And then, well, let's just pull this guy in. See, like, look how pretty. The color isn't doing it justice on camera. That is so pretty. And we'll just like hot glue them on. I just haven't committed to a color yet, so I have not glued anything on yet. I think I will once I decide which ones are going on my tree, and then I will make the decision when my tree is up what color I want. So anyhow, that's it, guys. Thank you again for coming along for this quick little video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, just feel free to leave a comment below or reach out to me another way. And we'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.